presenters in the whole conference, which is great. Look, I thought I'd talk about regrettable turnover, which in my mind is that kind of unfortunate situation where we know that people in our organisation are leaving for whatever reason to another similar organisation in the industry. And so I thought I'd share some insights as to why we're finding that's the case. I'm a co-founder of Verizon, but I'm also here today to talk about and represent Data Drives Insight, which is the Silka and Cisca tools. So I've had the pleasure of working with many aged care providers and care in the care industry for 20 years now. And in 2019, after many interactions with care providers who are saying, you know, I'm a leader, but I don't really know where I need to develop myself or my staff. It's also global. There's so many areas that we could focus on. So we decided to develop the Silka, which is connected to, it's the only care industry specific 360-degree leadership tool that speaks directly to the care industry and assesses the leadership capabilities in the care industry. So we developed the valid and reliable tools and to gain some insights into what is going on in the industry, but also what's going on for specific leaders and what's going on at specific sites as well. So with over 7,000 data sets, we're able to get a lot of useful information, and I wanted to present a few insights today that may help you with preventing some of that regrettable turnover. So some of the top issues that we find is lack of development of the front line, which you've talked about already and other presenters have as well. So there's nothing worse, and I think someone talked about before, Virginia talked about trust. If we're coming to an organisation and we're told that we develop you here, but we end up not doing that, then it breaks down the trust straight away, and people then make that mean that they don't feel valued in this organisation. A big one for me, because a lot of the hands-on work that I do with organisations is when there's a lot of conflict. So conflict is a huge reason why people are leaving, to the point where people would rather leave a job that they actually really love because they don't know how to deal with conflict, or they don't have trust in their leaders that they'll deal with the conflict. So they'd rather just go and test out another organisation in the industry. Unfortunately, they're probably walking into another organisation who doesn't do conflict well as well. So that's big insight that we've managed to uncover. Leadership capability at the middle and front line levels are really lacking. So we find that we've got wonderful people that we attract to the organisation. Unfortunately, if I jump ahead here, a lot of the non-mandatory training spend tends to be more at the executive upper management level, whereas we actually need more of that direct focus and training, as many of the other presenters have mentioned, at the front line and middle management levels. So I've been to organisations where, you know, I have asked a team, a site, how many leaders have you got? And they'll say, I think one, the service manager. And so the fact that there's a lot of ENs and RNs and team leads that are not considered leaders, and that's a big problem, that the leaders themselves don't see themselves as leaders or haven't been equipped with the skills to actually to lead as well. And then we've also got the leadership style. So Bruce talked about adaptive leadership. So we've got often very rigid leaders, and that's well-intentioned, so don't hear that as a judgment. We've got rigid leadership where we think we know what we need to do, so we don't do the curiosity, we don't necessarily do the calm very well, and we're not courageous in some of the ways that we think outside the box. So as a result, we tend to get into more of the telling leadership, and we, as a result, create a dependent culture, one where we're not encouraging you know, the upcoming leaders to think for themselves, to solve problems. And let's face it, when we're all under time pressures, it's easier to tell someone what to do rather than to spend the time coaching and developing and getting them to speak for them and think for themselves. So we've uncovered a lot of those things, and some of those things you're going to go, yep, I can relate to that. And I want to stress, though, that every organisation and every team is different. So my background has been in assessing culture, and so organisational culture. And one thing that we have developed with the CISCA, which is the site or the team-specific cultural assessment, is we're able to identify that there's different levers for different sites. So we can't actually, say with certainty that a global culture assessment is going to be the same across all sites. Every site has their own specific levers that if they understand and they're able to pull, then that's going to have a massive impact on performance, satisfaction, retention, etc. Typical, my notes just timed out, isn't it? Look, I won't take up too much more time, but I encourage you to come and have a chat with us we're going to be at the ACSA hub, at the Workforce Hub today, and particularly after this session. I wrote a book during COVID about some 10 insights that we've gathered from the data that we, from a lot of the organisations that we've worked with. And I'd like to offer that to people if you're up for it and would find it interesting. And also just need to mention that HSSO has just purchased 1,000 silkers that they'd like to provide to all ACSA members at a highly subsidised rate. So if you would like to get that offer and come and have a chat with us, we've also got some brochures on the way out as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Abby. When you've, and I